know if I can top that. On behalf of the NCIJA, I have to say what a great event. Thanks for allowing us to be a part of it. We're really happy to be here. No coach enjoys success without gifted, hardworking, successful players, and everything that every accolade that I've earned as a coach, I owe to the hardworking young people who, through their own efforts, and some from me, have accomplished so many things. And I'm just glad to have had a chance to be a part of their lives. I did have a couple of comments I wanted to make about some of the folks who've been up to the podium, at least the ones that were on the agenda. Bonnie Corte wasn't too specific about her accomplishments, but I really have to say that the most inspiring performance that I've ever seen by a female competitor in the senior national championships was Bonnie back in LA in 1975. Bonnie plowed through her division with more fervor than I've ever seen. And then she took on all comers in the grand championship round, and she was not only the national champion that year, but the grand champion of the women's competition. That was a performance that will forever live in my mind. And the one question I have, Bonnie, is I think I watched all your matches, and I don't think I saw anything but an ippon. Did you win any match by a decision? Were they all by ippons that day? They were. Pardon?
I believe they were.
Over the years, I guess there have been certain situations that have made such incredible impressions on us. I'll never forget it. I really won't, and that's one I like to tell. Larry Evans, mentioned Racine, and I just had I wish I'd had a chance to talk to you before we got started. But what I remember from Racine was, I remember, didn't the USGF folks who were running that event on behalf of the YMCA's in 1973, didn't they make both Diane and you wear white belts at that competition? I think they
so.
did, and that was one of the amazing memories. And certain people, unfortunately, there was so many ill feelings between the JF and the JA back then. But in spite of everything that they did, to our JA players, to humiliate them, and in front of the rest of us USGA players, it was something that, something that I would remember. And once again, it didn't work. Bonnie and Diane beat all of the black belts, regardless of what color belt they had, and it was just another example of another great performance of Bonnie's. George, I've got a special memory for George. George is the man with the Midas touch. George walked into my, back when we had the junior nationals in 1992, and the man turned a 50-cent piece into $500. it's a true story. George, I checked the value of your grand prize from the junior nationals, and it wasn't worth. It's now worth $500. That's a hell of a profit. That's a hell of a profit. So if anyone starts to run out of beer money before the night's over, as a matter of fact, I think George could buy a round for everyone in this room and still be able to show a profit from that transaction.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome. Has anyone else won a lotto? Just raise your hand if you've won a lotto. You're the only one, George. You're the Ron Yoshida is, it's so very special, you know, when the synergy between a coach and an athlete just works. And it worked so well between Ron Yoshida and Tammy Hostetler. And of course, I ended up with a couple of impressions that I've got to share with you because, you know, back at the state championships in 1975, Mary Krug was, it had been about 5 months since she won the British Open. And Tammy Hostetler came very well prepared and beat Mary Krug at the state championships in Rochelle in 1975. And as Ron Yoshida worked with Tammy Hostetler, you know, following that, I'm sure he told Tammy Hostetler 100 times that if you beat Mary Krug at the state championships, you can win the British Open. You can win the British Open because Mary won it, you know, last year. I'm sure that conversation occurred many times, and it was a real privilege to be matside at the British Open in '75 when Tammy won that gold medal. She fought so confidently and so flawlessly. It was just an incredible performance. Once again, that I'll always remember. And what was so, what happened out of that relationship has always stayed with me. And one thing that a lot of folks don't know is that we had a professional camera team at the 1973 state championships with professional equipment doing 16mm film of certain matches. They didn't know if the players were from Belleville or, you know, Decatur or Rochelle. They were from, you know, Rockford. So there's a good scattering of from all the clubs. But when it came time to work on this, Dr. Hinderleiter was overseeing the project. And the intent was originally that we have the narrator from the TV station and Dr. Hinderleiter and myself comment on these matches that we had taped. And but we didn't anticipate this upset with Mary Krug, and we made it a special point to, because of Ron Yoshida's obvious success, to bring him up and to have him a part of the television program and commenting on the performances of the players in the state championship. And I just have always admired his coaching abilities. Someone not here today, I wanted to see Quentin Thompson. I've got a quick story that I'll tell about Quentin, and I think it captures, you know, the man's character, which is